The year was 1992. My fiance, the love of my life, was a popular radio personality in Baltimore City. And on September 30th, he was murdered by youth, 16 and 21. He was gunned down on an inner city street, shot in the back as he got out of his car. When police arrived, the car was still running. There were so many bullets in the back of his head and back that the undertaker would not tell me just how many. His funeral lasted 6 hours, with a long stream of dignitaries speaking and over 3,000 people pouring in to say goodbye. Needless to say, I was devastated. But 3 days before the murder, I had had a dream that he was dead. I saw him laying in a casket. He sat up and talked to me, but no one else could see or hear him speaking. Being an avid dreamer all my life, this dream sort of prepared me for the shock that was to come. Interestingly, his last message on the air the day he was killed was, "If you knew you only had 24 hours to live, how would you spend your time?" It made me feel good that the majority of that day was spent with me. My girlfriend surrounded me and kept vigil, waiting for me to crack. I was numb. The following day, some friends who owned a beauty salon told me to come by so they could pamper me. A good friend drove me to the salon and told me that I was scaring her. I seemed to be doing just a bit too well. She knew how deeply I loved him. When I got out of the car and walked into the station, I passed out. Walked into the salon, I passed out. I had a vision as I lay unconscious. I saw myself working with youth and doing all sorts of enterprises. We were surrounded by people in the community who were helping teach the youth different businesses. We were in a large building. Later, I found a passage in a book that is called The Aquarian Gospel of Jesus the Christ. It accounts for the 18 missing years of Jesus. There was a passage about Jesus consoling a woman who had lost her child. Jesus said to the woman, "In order to rid yourself of grief, you must reach out and help someone else dry their tears, and your ministry of sorrow will become a ministry of joy." Every day for 30 days, I wrote down my thoughts of a program for you and put the vision on paper. I went to the radio station where he worked and shared my program. The person I spoke to said he thought it was a great idea, but didn't think I was quite ready. At that moment, the realization that my man was dead hit me like a ton of bricks. I lost my will to live. After that time, for about a year, I didn't realize I hadn't taken my 6-year-old daughter, the youngest of 4 daughters, to school the entire school year, until my oldest daughter told me, "Mom, it's your turn." Of course I had dealt with death before, but never murder. It turned my soul inside out. I went through so many emotions: fear, hatred, suicidal thoughts. I couldn't see a group of young people gathered without shaking. I couldn't drive across the street where he was murdered. I couldn't hear the sound of a car backfiring without thinking it was a gun. If anyone was late getting to me for any reason, I would immediately think they were dead. I was totally traumatized. I was angry with God, and this just didn't make sense. But I began doing some deep soul searching. I asked myself, what was I doing to help young people not do what they had done to my man? The answer was not very much. While I had the house where my daughter's friends would congregate, I really wasn't doing much to help other youth in the community. I came to realize that my dearly departed had to go, as we all have to do, but he left me with my life destiny, my purpose. I also knew that I had to submit to the greater plan that was evolving in my life. Almost 1 year to the date of his death, I found myself in a high school meeting with the principal, who ended up giving me a large amount of space to launch my program that I had designed. I talked to so many community people who had businesses, and we got together and cleaned out the space and got set up to work with the youth. Each day the youth energized me and helped me to heal. I discovered many of them were just like me, having lost someone to violence. I began to realize that I was 40 when this happened to me, having a good understanding of spirituality and life, but I was still devastated and destroyed, having to find my way. What could it possibly be like for those who were young, still developing, to try to overcome from losing a loved one? I realized that I had my work cut out for me. I also realized I was doing what the drug dealers did, taking our children, setting them up in business, and teaching them the ropes. I went on to work with thousands of youth through programs I designed and group homes. Several years later, I was given an entire formal vocational school and portions of the first mega high school in the nation. When I saw the building, I couldn't sleep. I knew it was the location I had seen in my dream the day after the murder. It was actually right up the street where the murder occurred. I created a community school called the Entrepreneur Training University Community School with the help of all facets of community: school administration, the University of Maryland, political allies, parents, and youth. The murder did make sense. It put me on the path of my destiny. My name is Nzinga, and I am an overcomer. Our next section will bring us to an overview.